welcome to Comic Conversations. This is going to be our first cast here, me and my buddy Lincoln. So, Lincoln.
Yes, sir?
What are we going to be doing today?
We're going to be talking about Hulk versus Superman, my guy.
Alright, so this actually stems from a conversation you and I had.
A very heated argument for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we looked behind the facts of all of it.
And then we started kind of getting the inspiration to come out and basically go, after surfing the internet and doing a lot of research, we kind of understood that there's so many facets and so many different layers and elements to be factored in when talking about the Incredible Hulk versus Superman that we kind of thought it would be prudent to host this little podcast here. Hopefully make it a thing. If not, we can just have what is, I hope, going to be the be-all, end-all
of conversations.
That's going to basically, at least, because we're not experts, but it's at least going to go over everything there is to go over in terms of these two characters, and basically just come out with a verdict on who's the best.
Yeah, I mean, it can go from simple arguments like we have to podcasts, so
yeah.
Let's just keep arguing.
Yeah, so, right away, before we actually get into what our actual opinions are on the subject, we have to go over the fact that there were, in the past, two distinct encounters that these two characters have had with each other.
Where they did fight.
Where they actually did fight, and both times, Superman won. The Incredible Hulk lost. But there were a few nicks.
Stipulations, you might say.
A few stipulations, as I have said in the past, that were just unfair for the Incredible Hulk. And the first instance was in like the 60s or 70s, where it was the Incredible Hulk versus Silver Age Superman. And for any of you that are familiar with the Silver Age version of Superman,
he was God.
He was God, basically.
He had no stipulations.
He had absolutely no limitation. I mean, he had kryptonite and maybe red sun energy, maybe magic, but there was nothing within the comics.
There was no limit to the power.
Exactly.
He could carry around the solar system.
Exactly.
He could sneeze and destroy the planet.
Mm-hmm.
He was just overpowered.
Yeah, and the Incredible Hulk, I remember in the crossover, was punching Superman, and Superman wasn't even flinching.
Didn't even care.
Yeah, so it was kind of unfair. And then their second encounter actually came from, I believe, the 1996 or 98 Marvel versus DC crossover event, where they actually pinned the Incredible Hulk versus Superman, and once again, Superman came out on top. But the reason for this was due to the fact that within the comics continuity, because it's the mainline comic storyline characters from whatever point in time they were being forced to fight each other.
Exactly.
So it was.
They have to work together after.
Yeah. So it was a version of Superman that came out right after he had died.
Yeah.
So it was Superman outside of his healing coma who had basically come back out into the world. He was wearing the black costume. Mm-hmm. He had the mullet.
His healing
coma.
His healing coma because he died.
And the Incredible Hulk, on the other hand, was a much weaker version of the Incredible Hulk. Because it was essentially a version that had Bruce Banner in complete control over the Incredible Hulk's body. So no rage. So he basically had no access to the upper limits of his powers. And in comic, Superman actually says, this guy can take my punches and he can dish them out. It's just I can do it better.
I can do it way faster.
Yeah. And it's kind of unfair because it's a more beefed up version of Superman going up against a weaker version of the Hulk. So it doesn't really play out as fair in my mind. So what we want to do now is just kind of shift over to
what could happen.
What could actually happen if you took main comics Superman, put him up against main comics Incredible Hulk, and we're kind of trying to factor in as much as we can into this. So we're going to go over
multiple different versions of this. We got the first one that we're probably going to get into in a second is more base level versus base level.
Right.
And then we're going to go into very different versions of them, evil versions, MCU versus DCU, strongest of each other, different future versions, etc., etc.
Yep.
So buckle in.
Yep. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to quickly go over the Incredible Hulk's set of powers, the Incredible Hulk's capabilities, and then without coming to a conclusion right away, I'm going to shift over to Lincoln, who's going to give you Superman's powers and abilities. So basically, the Incredible Hulk, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, was essentially meant to be like the personification of rage. He was literally meant to just be rage incarnate. and his strength was supposed to reflect that. Now, the Incredible Hulk is one of, if not the strongest character, physically strongest character within the Marvel Universe, and that's across all universes. With some exceptions, out of Earth's heroes, he's probably one of the strongest, at his most strongest, and that kind of ties into his next power, which is getting even stronger the angrier he becomes. Exactly. The angrier he becomes, it kind of becomes a situation where there is no upper limit to what it is that he can do. It's actually said many times within comic storylines that it is theoretically possible for the Incredible Hulk to just get angrier and angrier and angrier until he reaches a point where he's basically infinite. He has potential for infinite strength.
Forever.
And his, on top of his incredible strength, he's also got great stamina. His stamina is also limitless because it's tied to his anger. His durability is incredibly high, able to, reflect bullets, survive nuclear explosions, all that kind of jazz. Not to mention, his other abilities are included but not limited to being able to breathe underwater, being able to eat radiation, gamma radiation.
Not dying in space.
He doesn't need to breathe. I'm pretty sure he still needs to eat. But one of the Hulk's most impressive powers are his Wolverine-like healing factor. I'd actually say it's very much more equivalent to someone like Deadpool.
Just because it's more instant.
Yeah, just because of how advanced it is.
You'll see him bleed for a second, and then it'll go away.
Exactly. There was an instance where Lady Deathstrike, Wolverine villain, had sliced open the Incredible Hulk's stomach, causing his intestines to basically leak out all over the place. Which case he just pushed him back in, and his body healed so fast, his skin healed around his fingers that were holding in his stomach, basically.
It's absurd.
He just ripped them out and healed over those wounds. But that's just kind of how the Incredible Hulk functions. He's super strong, he's super heavy, and he dishes out as much as he can take. However, the Incredible Hulk's, I guess, mainstay weakness is that
he doesn't always have control.
He doesn't always have control. I guess that's the best way to put it, because you have instances, because a lot of people are going to be confused when I say that the Incredible Hulk is not a complete idiot. Because
sometimes
it just depends on how angry he is.
Which versions?
Because there are some versions of the Incredible Hulk that can be very tactical.
Exactly.
Because the Incredible Hulk has his own brain, he can influence his own decisions.
It's pretty much just a different split personality
exactly.
of Bruce Banner.
And so, depending on how, I would actually argue though, you would want, if you're going to fight the Incredible Hulk, you would want to fight the more level-headed Hulk, because as soon as he starts to get angry and loses it is when he starts getting stronger, is when he starts getting more ferocious.
It's when you have less of a chance.
Exactly. So now that we've pretty much gone over all that, we're going to now shift over to your boy, who's going to go over Superman.
So, Superman, unlike Hulk, has a very, very long list of abilities, comparatively, of course. Mm-hmm. Because Hulk, super strength, invulnerability, healing factors if he is hit by something that's more strong than what usually would, and, of course, what you've just gone over.
Right.
Superman's feat strength, superhuman strength, speed, durability, and longevity, superhuman heat vision, see through stuff, he's got vision, lots of different visions, superhuman breath, which is like freeze and wind, and then he can fly at supersonic speeds across the universe.
Wow, yeah.
He's pretty much as close to a god character as you can get, and
this is just his main self. This isn't his overpowered self.
Exactly. And just with that, that's over. That's a lot. That's a lot of overkill. Born Kal-El, then named Clark Joseph Kent. Didn't know his middle name was Joseph. It's just reading the Wikipedia as we go.
Makes him more human.
Member of the Justice League from Krypton. Lives in Smallville on Earth. Has multiple different versions. Mm-hmm. Goes from the Golden Age to the less Golden Age to the Silver Age
to the Bronze Age
to the new
Modern Age,
the new 42,
52.
52.
There's a lot. Now we're in DC Rebirth.
I just can't keep up with all of these.
Yeah, I can't
they keep redoing all of it.
I can't keep up with DC and their constant reboots, but regardless, it seems since the post Infinite Crisis landscape. Back in 1985, there was an event called Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Of course.
And it was basically this big, huge... It was the first big, huge reboot that DC had done.
Yeah.
And it was essentially supposed to just fix the landscape.
Mm-hmm.
And so
every continuity error they had, they were trying to make it all one continuous story.
Yeah. And so basically, Superman got depowered and was scaled down to basically still be...
To level the playing field for everybody.
Yeah, to level the playing field. Basically make it to where Superman was still super strong and super powerful.
He was still number one, but there was a lot more close 2 and 3s.
The competition was a lot closer.
Because then you got Wonder Woman, who's also almost as strong and has been shown to be able to fight off Superman.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got...
Kill Superman. Let's just get that out.
Let's just get... It could go either way. We'll have an argument about that next.
Right.
Then we got, like, gets beaten by Batman more easily.
Well, yeah, with kryptonite.
Of course.
And that's the thing about Superman, is that he has 3 major weaknesses, but I don't think either of them are really going to tie into this Versus.
Of course. Because that's not...
Because it just doesn't apply.
Exactly.
And we'll get into, like, I guess, like, the main, I guess, ground rules for this theoretical Versus.
It'd be no weaknesses, just straight up brawl.
Yeah, like if...
Like on a different planet, if they were like, let's go fight it out on this planet, see who's actually number one.
Exactly.
We could destroy it. It won't it won't mess up the solar system.
We could have our own version of Secret Wars.
Exactly.
And just teleport Bruce Banner and Clark Kent to some random planet.
I'm just gonna say Mars.
Yeah, just say Mars. And
neither of them have to breathe.
Neither of them have to breathe. I mean, Bruce Banner automatically turns into the Incredible Hulk as soon as he feels his life force starting to fade away. Clark Kent is already Superman.
He's already Superman. He doesn't need...
So he just suits up.
Or doesn't. They're both just naked fighting on the planet. They just rip off their clothes.
But Superman's weaknesses are kryptonite, red sun, and magic. Incredible Hulk does not have access to any of those.
Of course not.
It's just them on Mars. They meet each other for the first time, and they're basically told, we're going to put a little message in their heads that say, kill the other guy.
Yeah. We'll do some kind of comic book version where, like, Galactus or somebody is putting together, see who could beat who.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give my verdict. I think the Incredible Hulk will take their first fight. The first fight...
Of base level forms?
Yes. I think is going to go to the Incredible Hulk. Just because...
Very interesting.
Just because...
And this is where this argument has started.
Just because... Superman's personality does not lend itself very well to actual, like, hardcore confrontation.
Yeah, until he goes, now the gloves are coming off.
Yes, until Superman has the capability to go that distance.
But I believe he would if there was no people.
If there was nobody
and
around.
He just goes, I can let loose? What? And then he just takes his cape off and just goes, it's like a weighted cape, like in Naruto or something. It weighs like it weighs a planet. And he just like fucking spins around.
Oh man. I mean, like, now here's the thing. I think in base forms, Superman might have the edge over the Incredible Hulk in terms of strength.
And speed.
And everything else.
And but Hulk's got him on durability and healing factors.
I think the Incredible Hulk would be able to overcome Superman just because of his immense savagery, his immense ferocity, the ability to just completely overpower someone so wildly and so bluntly that it would just... I think it would confuse Superman at first.
At first, of course.
And then of course it would take some adapting. And then they would eventually get to a point where they fight each other and it's actually starting to become closer.
But do you think that Hulk could Khabib Superman?
Could he Khabib some Superman?
Because that's pretty much the fight. Because Hulk would just drag you down and beat the shit out of you as hard as he could, and Superman would try to be more technical about it, like a Conor McGregor versus Khabib fight. I
think the Incredible Hulk, if he got a hold of Superman and just started wailing on him and just choking him to death, and
punching him through the planet core,
he could completely annihilate Superman. Because.
But do you think he could get his hands on somebody who can go from one end of the universe to the other in a blink of an eye?
I think the way the fight would function is it's going to be a lot of Superman
avoiding
most of the fight.
Like keeping a distance, shooting him with heat rays,
it's
coming back, hitting him with the combination.
It's gonna kind of be a lot like an animal and like the animal's caretaker. Like it's a wild animal, like going nuts, like a lion and a lion tamer, and the lion tamer's doing what he can to like keep the lion at bay and kind of subdue the lion as best as they can. But at the end of the day, if that lion just gets past
just one hold on you, I can see that argument.
And here's the thing. Here's another thing that I have to stress because we didn't touch upon this when we were going over Superman and his capabilities, but he's solar powered.
Yeah. He could run out of power.
He can.
Hulk cannot.
He's a battery basically, and over the course of a battle, just going into it, going over it.
But have we ever seen Superman lose energy in a fight unless he used that one like super solar bomb thing? Well, you can't put him against another Kryptonian.
Oh my god. Okay.
That's pretty much if you put him against the Hulk with Kryptonian powers.
No, it is not. Doomsday does not have the Kryptonian powers.
I mean, he wasn't.
Doomsday was not. Doomsday was not a traditional Kryptonian.
In the DCE.
Okay, in the stupid movies,
he's a Kryptonian.
He's a Kryptonian. Yes, because he was made with Kryptonian DNA. But
I mean, it was General Zod.
Yes.
In the movies, at least.
Yes, it was. So there was a. Don't get started on Batman, Superman. Okay, but Doomsday. Many people can compare Doomsday to the Incredible Hulk just because
they look similar.
They look similar.
They're just huge.
They're very similar in terms of what they can do. Doomsday is incredibly strong. He's incredibly durable, and he's got those bone fragment shards. Whatever. Mm-hmm. But he was able to. Not that he wasn't able to completely overpower Superman.
He put him in a.
He put him in a healing coma. Yes, that is where the healing coma comes from. But the Incredible Hulk. But Superman and Doomsday, fought each other essentially to a standstill. Like, they fought each other to where they both died.
Yeah.
It wasn't Doomsday beat Superman and then he died. Mm-hmm. And it was just more like... It was just such an incredible clash that they just basically both died.
Yeah. And one got into a coma.
Yeah. And the reason... And people theorize that the reason Superman...
Wasn't it like night when they were fighting?
Yeah. Like, it was a fight that started during the day.
Yeah, but it ended.
And it just kept going and going, and then it was nighttime, and so there was just no way Superman could keep the fight going.
They're just throwing punches.
Exactly. And so with the Incredible Hulk versus Superman, I feel like it could kind of be a similar situation. Because the Incredible Hulk's stamina is limitless, and his strength just keeps getting more and more. It just keeps stockpiling.
Do you think that they would stay on one side of an empty planet like that, or they would constantly be going from side to side?
They'd probably be going constantly from side to side.
Because I think because Superman would realize that he was going weaker, and he'd fly away knowing that he was faster than Hulk, go recharge, come back, beat his ass again.
I've thought that too. Like, I had thought about that. Like, there's nothing really stopping Superman from just leaving the fight mid-fight, flying into the sun for 15 minutes, and then coming right back.
He couldn't do that with Doomsday because Doomsday wasn't letting him get anywhere.
Yeah, Doomsday. Well, he couldn't do that with Doomsday because it were on Earth. Yeah. Doomsday was going on a killing rampage.
Yeah, you can't just leave him and be like, all right, wait here for a few minutes.
But the Incredible Hulk, we're on Mars, so there's nobody left around for Superman to worry about.
So he would definitely lose a lot of power early on because he'd be like, oh, no restraints, takes that heavy cape off, like I was saying, but flies around, freezes him, heats him, does all of his special powers that he can't usually do on Earth.
Right.
And I think that it could really go either way on the base forms. Because, like you said, he could get a hold of him, punch him all the way through the Earth, or the Mars, pretty much.
And Superman could probably catch the Incredible Hulk off guard, knock him out.
He's got the pressure point fighting styles, which I forget the name of. It's whatever. It's whatever Kryptonian fighting style they got. But he's used that before on stronger opponents.
Torquasm Rao and Torquasm Vo are the two fighting styles.
Hence his body and mind.
Yeah, one's for fighting off physical opponents, one's for fighting off psychic attacks.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. That's actually another similarity between the two. Before we continue, is that Superman has those to combat his opponents via his mind. The Incredible Hulk has actually been able to ward off psychic attacks.
Yeah.
Simply because his mind is they describe it as a minefield of rage. Yeah. It's impossible to get through
unless you're like Xavier or somebody crazy.
Yeah, and even then it depends on how angry or unangry the Incredible Hulk is. Because, okay, here's another... Now I can shift back into the main discussion.
There we go.
The Incredible Hulk has not a form, I want to say, but more just kind of like a level of strength that is so high it needs to have its own name.
Yeah.
Which is World Breaker Hulk. And
Yeah.
it's a natural form. The Incredible Hulk didn't have to do anything special to achieve the form. He could always do it. He just needs to get angry enough.
Yeah.
And depending on how angry he is, he could automatically assume the strength level, or he could gradually increase to the strength level. Now, Superman, while he could just totally, he could dip out and he could leave, what if, the Incredible Hulk didn't let him leave? The Incredible
Exactly.
Hulk was
He
just
just held
like,
him.
just grabbed him and they kept fighting and they were going at it and it was insane.
Then I think that Hulk would probably win if he could.
And here's the thing, if Superman leaves, he forfeits.
What if he just flies to the other side of the planet where their sun is out?
I feel like if
He doesn't have to leave the planet necessarily if he's just in the sunlight, because like there could be night on one side, he flies to the other side, waits for Hulk to run across the whole planet, or jump like he does in that one movie.
Mhm.
Just jump. I think he could get back to the sunlight.
I mean, the Incredible Hulk has been able to jump from the Earth's surface into like the outer, like into hyperspace, or was it hyperspace or just the?
I think it was the atmosphere.
I think it was just the plane atmosphere.
Yeah.
Made it in outside of our atmosphere with one single jump.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine being able to jump across the mass of Mars, which is smaller than Earth.
Exactly.
So basically,
I think what would happen is he gets to the Superman flies over, gets to the sunlight. Hulk jumps. They're right back to fighting, but now Superman's in the sunlight again.
Right. So basically, we're just kind of dealing with a scenario where it's kind of round and around and around.
Yeah.
Superman.
I assume the
Couldn't
planet
get
would
away.
Be, yeah, I assume the planet would be destroyed by the end of this. Either confrontation, whoever wins, the planet's just wrecked.
Yeah. So with World Breaker Hulk, he was so strong, he was able to beat all of the X-Men. He was able to beat all of the Fantastic Four. He was
Every major Marvel hero.
He was
except for whoever's left.
Yeah, he was basically able to beat Iron Man in his Hulkbuster uniform. He was able to beat all the other Gamma-infused characters like She-Hulk and Doc Samson with relative ease. And the only character that he fought with any kind of trouble was the Sentry, which is basically Marvel's version of Superman.
Exactly.
And the Sentry is, they say at his strongest it has like the power of like 1 million exploding suns.
Yeah.
There's like 1 million supernovas, and one supernova is enough to wipe out an entire solar system.
Exactly.
And they were fighting basically to a standstill. Neither one of them really won the fight, but it was such the Incredible Hulk was so strong, he was cosmically strong. He was at a point where if Galactus came down and the Incredible Hulk punched him in the face, Galactus would probably feel it.
Yeah.
And so it gets to a point where Superman has to either finish the fight before it gets to that level, or how is he going to be able to recharge? How is he going to be able to combat and go toe-to-toe with somebody who's not only at a point in time where he's surpassed Superman's strength, it just keeps going. Forever. Like, that's the thing about the Incredible Hulk. He is infinitely strong. He does not stop with his strength. There's not a point where it caps out.
Yeah.
Superman, it caps out depending on how much solar energy he has in his body at any given time. But that being said, Superman also has a litany of other abilities.
Exactly.
He has a litany of other powers.
He's way faster.
He's way faster than the Incredible Hulk, and that's like the one thing that is like really hard to get around.
Exactly. Because he could punch him as hard as he could if he was holding him there.
Yes.
But if he was dodging all of them and just hitting him with pressure points, and the Hulk would be like, "Urgh."
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean,
that's how he would have to fight somebody that's that big and strong.
Yeah.
He knows, like, if he gets his hands on me, I'm dead.
I mean, Superman has to be able to take advantage of all of his abilities. That's like the really interesting thing about Superman is that he doesn't have just one ability at his disposal or one.
He doesn't have one shtick.
Exactly, like the Incredible Hulk does.
Who's just a really strong rage monster.
Yeah, but that's with the Incredible Hulk. That's
his thing.
That's a dangerous opponent, right
exactly.
there.
That's what makes him dangerous.
For going up against someone who is wildly strong, going up against someone who has very, very versatile moveset.
He has a whole page of powers and abilities.
Yeah, but here's the thing. For most of them, I can kind of pinpoint why I don't think.
Yeah, because you could say like his heat vision probably would it would burn and stuff, but then he could heal.
Yeah,
he could freeze him for a few seconds. What would that do?
I mean, the Incredible Hulk's gone up against the Human Torch.
Yeah, he's gone against everybody.
Iceman from X-Men. I mean, he's gone up against so many other characters who literally
have the abilities of Superman.
They mainstay. Like, if this was a fighting game, they main the superpowers that Superman silence. Okay? Yeah. He doesn't take those powers that he has seriously, but if he did, they still wouldn't do that much to Incredible Hulk.
Because he could blow him away with his super breath. But then what would it do?
Exactly.
Just come back.
He would just come right back. But then pissed off.
Yeah. But then if you're Superman and you realize after the first few punches that you realize, oh, he's getting angrier and stronger, I would just start using a combination of every single one, like flying around, freezing him real fast, punching him, throwing him around, hitting him with the heat rays, flying around more.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, then it kind of becomes... that's sort of the advantage Superman might have over the fight, is that, as we talked over earlier, the Incredible Hulk's intelligence varies depending on how angry he is.
Yeah, and the farther the fight goes, the angrier he's going to get.
Exactly.
So if Kal-El can realize all of these little hints, which he's smart enough to realize, I think he could get around all of it.
But that's another thing.
This is just becoming the argument again.
Superman, that's the thing. Superman is going around, he's being tactical, and he's doing all these things, wasting his energy.
Yeah.
He's wasting energy just trying to keep up with someone who's just getting better.
So that's where the question comes. Do you think if Superman did all the right stuff and kept his power or his energy levels low enough to where he wasn't wasting a lot of it, he was using them all for really important moves and stuff, do you think he could outrun Hulk enough to where he could get a KO?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, being completely 100% honest, I think they're
because I think if it starts out and Superman does not realize what he's up against, he'll get wrecked.
Fucking mollywop.
Yeah, because he's just like, oh, I'm just gonna walk right up to this dude and punch him, and then just gets.
I mean, that happens all the time. With
Exactly.
Superman just walks into some bar and is like, I'm the hottest, and then the Incredible Hulk stands up because Superman spilt his drink and just backhands him through the bar. That
Superman wakes up. And
that's like their first encounter to me. I feel like if they were to first meet for the first time, and Superman was just his regular self,
and Bruce Banner was sitting there having a beer.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he turns into the Incredible Hulk, and Superman's like, I got this guy. I fought Doomsday.
Yeah.
I fought people that were strong enough to kill me, and I'm me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fight this guy and beat his ass. Incredible Hulk just comes out.
Yeah,
just starts fish slapping Superman.
He just goes, You want to talk now? You want to talk now? You want to talk now?
Basically.
He just beats his ass.
Exactly. And Superman, I feel like, has plenty of scenarios where he can come out on top, and he can basically be like, well, you got me the first few times. Yeah, I can figure out what it is that's wrong with you. I can pinpoint your weaknesses. He could use his X-ray vision with his heat vision, zap the Incredible Hulk's spinal cord or something.
What if I just thought about this because you said the X-ray vision? What if he finds the thing that makes him Hulk? It's a tumor in his brain or something. Oh
no,
it's actually just gamma radiation.
It's just because the thing is, I don't want to go into a huge explanation of it, but I'll just go over a brief thing. Superman's a Kryptonian. He's an alien. That's where his powers come.
Yeah.
The Incredible Hulk, Bruce Banner, eons and eons and eons ago, the Celestials created the Earth, created the Deviants, humans, and the Eternals. Mm-hmm. But they fucked up the humans' genes on purpose to basically make it to where at some point along the line mutants would emerge and make it to where certain human genes would be altered in a way where specifically certain things would happen to them. So if you get bitten by a radioactive spider, you become Spider-Man. Instead of dying of incredible radiation cancer, whatever, you become the Incredible Hulk when you get blasted by gamma radiation.
Yeah.
That's kind of just how that works. That's kind of how they explain it in Marvel Comics, how certain humans get their powers.
Yeah. Because there's been times where Superman has been oh, you got a tumor in your brain, zaps it, and then guess what? You got no powers anymore.
Exactly. But with the Incredible Hulk, that's not the case.
That's not the case.
The Incredible Hulk's powers are explicitly gamma related. Because the thing is, with Bruce Banner, the Incredible Hulk is very biological. The the Incredible Hulk was born with Bruce Banner. There's really no way to separate the two unless Superman was able to some way come up with some ability to sap the Incredible Hulk of his radiation.
Exactly.
Which is
or he could absorb it.
But
because he's a battery.
But it's solar radiation. You can't absorb gamma.
Where does gamma come from?
The sun. Hold on.
You're looking it up now because now you're upset.
Here's the thing: Superman can't grab somebody and be like, "I want your energy," and then absorb it from you. The Incredible Hulk can do that, which is why now I have another question.
What's that?
Wouldn't the Incredible Hulk just be able to eat Superman's face? Is solar radiation gamma radiation?
The sun does not emit gamma rays.
The sun does not emit gamma rays from this process, but it does emit gamma rays from solar flares.
Not necessarily.
I know, but
because he's already got gamma rays coming out of him.
But here's another thing. So,
what does solar flares do to Superman?
I think solar flares like boost his power.
Well, then there you go.
Well, then
just being around the Hulk.
Gamma rays are in.
Just being around the Hulk would make Superman stronger.
Yeah, but okay.
This is slowly going to devolve into just me and Gary arguing.
Okay.
We have a script, Garrett. Stick to it.
So even if I was going to entertain that idea that Superman gets stronger off of the Incredible Hulk's essence,
yeah,
I have to really sit here and wonder what would it do to Superman, because
he just gets green. What if he becomes the Hulk with Superman powers?
Oh my God!
Then he's just Bruce Banner.
Jesus Lord!
Can you imagine?
Oh my God!
If it was just the Hulk wearing this ripped up Superman outfit.
I would love it. I would read that.
I would read that.
But
all right, DC, I got you an idea.
But I think
copyright.
But I think with when it comes to that, I don't know, because I don't think anyone's ever explained. I know that the Incredible Hulk does leak gamma radiation. He walks around and places that he's been are irradiated.
So,
but I don't know if that does so to the point where it's significant, because the Incredible Hulk has been around plenty of people throughout his life, but he's never caused them to get cancer in the comics or anything. Because there was an instance where Elizabeth Ross, his sort of girlfriend, on and off girlfriend,
Red Hulk's daughter,
she died.
Yeah,
she died in the comics, and everybody thought it was because of Bruce, because I think they were married at that time.
Yeah, and
everybody thought it was because of Bruce. And it is true, he gives off radiation, but it wasn't him. It was somebody else. It was Abomination, who poisoned her with his own blood or something.
Ew.
So, which I think if someone were to drink, if Superman were to drink the Incredible Hulk's blood, he might get a small high off of it. He just turns into a vampire, sucking the blood out of the Hulk. Okay. We're detracting.
Yeah.
We're a little off
Alright,
topic.
pull the script up again.
Alright.
So, base level Superman versus base level Hulk. I would give the edge to Superman.
I have to give the edge to the Incredible Hulk still, because just because the Incredible Hulk is so unpredictable, the Incredible Hulk is so strong.
And why does that make him more of a possibility to win if he's more unpredictable?
Because Superman could be flying around being all tactical and strategic, thinking, "Oh, Incredible Hulk's going to do this. He's going to come over here. He's going to try and hit me here."
And then he wakes up and he's in
the Incredible Hulk, just instead of going to punch him, lifts the entire ground out and throws it at Superman.
That's quite possible.
That's just it. The Incredible Hulk, he just does. He doesn't think about his actions. Sometimes, if he's level-headed enough, he strategizes and he thinks. But in the heat of the moment, in the heat of battle, the Incredible Hulk is war-torn. He just goes at it, and he just doesn't stop until the guy in front of him is down. Now, that could work to his detriment, because that means he's unfocused, he's wild, he's sporadic. So Superman can take advantage of that, but I also don't think that he would be able to. I don't think Superman can really stomach some of the punches that the Incredible Hulk could throw at him.
It's quite possible.
The Incredible Hulk in
2 out of 3 fights. Or how many out of 3 fights?
Out of 3 fights, I gotta make it 10, dude. I can't do it.
You gotta do 10?
I have to do 10 fights.
Okay, out of 10
fights, I think the Incredible Hulk wins it at least 4 or 5 out of 10. Because I can concede that there are moments where I think Superman could
just straight knock his ass.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the Incredible Hulk was even able to, with one punch, gave Thor a concussion.
Yeah,
and
this is like Thor times 30.
Yeah. Man, that gets into like all these different kinds of like power scalings.
I know the power scalings.
I think Thor could beat Superman, but that's just because Superman's magical weakness.
That's true, also. But see, that's just another podcast right there.
Exactly. But anyway, so
out of 10 fights, you think 5? So you think 5 and 5, pretty much?
I do. I'm gonna be kind of a jerk and give my obviously my official final decision is 5 out of 10. I think it's very, very half and half.
Yeah.
But my Incredible Hulk fanboyism is me. Leans more towards a 6 out of 10.
As I look at your live action The Incredible Hulk show on DVD.
My collection up there.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of Superman stuff up there too. I'm a huge Superman fan.
I see.
So it hurts a little bit.
It hurts.
But I have to go with who I think.
Well, I'm going to make it easier and go by the UFC decision where it's 2 out of 3 judges. And I would say 2 judges would give the decision to Superman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you meant, when you said 2 out of 3, I thought you meant fights.
Well, I said that at first, but then I thought, well, the better way to look at it is how they like actually judge fights.
Okay.
By like, if it was a 3-round fight between Hulk and Superman, I think Superman would be up on points.
Probably.
Because he'd probably do more, and then Hulk would be just looking for those knockout blows.
That's true. If the Incredible Hulk were to fight Superman, he would just be trying to end him.
Exactly.
He wouldn't be trying to like, pinpoint which part of his body he needs to attack.
Exactly.
He'd just be attacking.
Exactly.
So it's interesting. So I guess 2 out of 3 judges would see that
Superman
would
was
win.
doing more to actually win the fight.
Yeah, because we said that earlier, that Superman would likely have more control over the fight. But that doesn't mean he would win the fight.
Exactly.
So that's why I think
So if it went to a 3-round decision, and they were both fighting to the bitter end, and they just ran out of time or whatever.
Like neither one of them knocked each other out.
Yeah, neither one of them knocked each other out. They were just going by what they would have done in the fight. I think the edge would be to Superman because you'd probably be doing a lot more stuff.
Okay, so let me go over again the rules we had set up.
Mm-hmm.
So Mars, no other people, and Superman can't leave the planet.
Yeah.
So, and if that were the case, then
and they fight to a standstill, and they have to do judge's decision.
I mean, if we
have more points.
I was about to say, if we were going off to just straight points, it's Superman.
Exactly.
Because here's the thing. I feel like the Incredible Hulk would swing and miss so many times. He would try and grab Superman, and he would just completely grab nothing but air.
Because I'm completely fine with going to the argument that neither of them would win.
Right.
That it would be a standstill. But if it did come to a standstill and they had to use judges, I would say that Superman would win.
Yeah, okay,
that's my argument.
That's true. But who would win in an actual, street fight?
Yeah, it would probably be Hulk. But as we've been discussing, there's lots of different scenarios where either of them comes out on top.
True.
That's why we have this microphone.
That's why
we're having this argument.
That's why I go with 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's why I decided 5 out of 10, because 5 out of 10 times the Incredible Hulk could just come crashing right out of the gate, end Superman. I think that there are fights where the Incredible Hulk could just end Superman right away.
Of course.
And then there are fights where I think that they just go on and on, and then Incredible Hulk just gets to a point where he's so powerful, he just wipes the floor with Superman. And then I think with Superman, there are instances where maybe he could come right out of the gate, and knock out the Incredible Hulk pretty quickly.
He could choke him out.
He could.
He could be that much stronger and just put him in a rear naked choke.
Exactly. And then there are points where I think Superman, maybe not. Here's the thing. I think Superman has a lot more time to win the fight early on than he does later. Because the later he waits to win the fight, the stronger the Incredible Hulk's going to be, and the more difficult it's going to be for Superman to beat him.
Alrighty, that's the argument on base level.
Yeah, I think that covers pretty much the entirety of the main storylines that we kind of wanted to cover here.
Of course.
And then even, do you want a water or anything before we keep going?
I got a water right here. Do you want to go get a water before we keep going?
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break.